Hello and welcome. This is Eagle News. I'm Ken Cruz in Washington. It's the first Saturday of July 2023 here in the nation's capital. Our stories this week begin with the first woman of color elected as mayor of Canada's biggest city of 3 million people. Joshua Santillana has the story.
Toronto has elected their new mayor this week. Olivia Chow is the first racialized woman elected to be mayor of the city of Toronto. Chow has won 37% of the votes, with her biggest support coming from the downtown core and majority of the Scarborough area. Ana Bailao has come in close second with 32% of the votes cast in her favor. Early on in the counting, Bailao took a lead of about 7,000 votes ahead of Chow. Last week, former Mayor John Tory endorsed Bailao, which helped push her standing in the polls. Chow has requested that she is sworn into office on July 12th. Details of the ceremony is still to be determined. She says she wants to get to work as Toronto's mayor as soon as possible. Chow's first order of business, as per her campaign promise, is housing. Approving social housing for a non-profit organization is her priority. On the question whether or not she will raise property taxes in the city, as her opponents have criticized her on, she tells Toronto not to feel worried and will make sure that the tax increase is reasonable. Joshua Santillana, Toronto, Ontario. Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Wildfires are a serious threat, especially during the summer months, with almost all of them caused by humans. Fire officials caution Americans this weekend to not add to the danger and refrain from lighting illegal fireworks during this year's Independence Day celebrations. Myla Simbolan reports.
As millions of Americans prepare to celebrate Independence Day, Pennsylvania State Fire Commissioner Thomas Cook and DCNR Secretary Cindy Dunn urge residents to leave fireworks displays to the professionals. This due to ongoing drought conditions and elevated wildfire risk. National Fire Protection Association statistics show fireworks start more than 18,500 fires per year. They cause an average of 43 million in direct property damage. DCNR warns that 99% of wildfires are caused by people. DCNR encourages Pennsylvanians to follow guidance from experts on fireworks and be mindful of local county and statewide guidance on burning. Low precipitation has dramatically increased the number of wildfires in Pennsylvania this year. There have already been 1,400 wildfires reported statewide so far in 2023, compared to 1,036 in all of 2022. According to the National Interagency Fire Center, since January 1st, there have been 22,000 wildfires that burned 636,000 acres across the United States. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Myla Simbolan, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
It's one of America's longest holiday weekends, and aside from watching fireworks, millions are hitting the road, including myself. Anna Kui tells us today how this year's Independence Day travel is about to set a new record. Here's Adventure Awaits.
While COVID restrictions have become a thing of the past, travel demand has continued to rise. This Independence Day weekend travel is projected to set a new record, with over 50 million Americans planning to hit the road, according to AAA. According to the report, consumers are not cutting back on travel this summer despite the limited inventory and higher prices. A new record of 43.2 million people will drive to their destinations this long weekend, an increase of 2.4% compared to 2022 and 4% higher than pre-pandemic record in 2019. And that's probably thanks to gas prices being well below what they were last year. The national average of all U.S. grades gas price currently in June is $3.68 compared to $5.03 during the same time last year, according to government data. In addition, the car rental industry has also improved since the pandemic. Inventory has increased and rental rates are down slightly from 2022. At the same time, despite high ticket prices, AAA also projects air travel to set a new record, stating 4.17 million Americans will fly to their destinations this holiday weekend. That is an increase of 11.2% over 2022 and 6.6% over 2019. Over 3 million people will use other means of transportation to travel, including by bus, cruise, or train over the long weekend, and it's expected to have a 24% increase over last year, but is not expected to surpass pre-pandemic records. According to AAA, July 4th holiday travel this year is a 5-day period from Friday, June 30 to Tuesday, July 4, with Friday being expected to be the busiest day on the roads. Well, whether you plan to drive or fly out for the holiday, be safe and enjoy this July 4th weekend. In Las Vegas and Akui, Eagle News, we live in extraordinary times.
Extraordinary stories from Thomas I likeness today, from serious dumpster diving in Vancouver to a taqueria loved by tourists in Mexico to South Koreans aging back. All this and more on Correspondent at Large.
And now news and commentary from around the globe. One of Canada's most expensive cities, I'm talking about Vancouver, it's on Canada's west coast. The cost of living there is so high that people are resorting to dumpster diving to put food on the table. There's even a Facebook page called Dumpster Diving in Vancouver. It's been set up by a man who identifies himself as Metro. He has a couple of thousand followers and he even organizes meetings where he distributes free food. Well, how did it all start?
We discovered, there was business throwing away a lot of food. And it got to the point where thinking, this is ridiculous. I'm finding 22 loaves of bread. What can I do with 22 loaves of bread? And I ran into some people who were having a rough time financially and looked at them and says, if they're willing, why not share it around?
Metro says for every distribution he organizes, about 30 people show up to receive food. Vancouver resident Elizabeth is one of them. She's struggling to get by while she's on medical leave from her job.
I'm finding it very challenging to afford groceries. I'm having to eat like a lot of beans and stuff. You know, meat is a treat, basically.
Elizabeth is not alone. A report by the province's health services says 1 in 10 households in the city struggles with food insecurity. Vancouver has a population of more than 2.7 million people, so that means food insecurity is affecting more than 250,000 people living there. And while many in Vancouver don't eat meat because they can't afford it, in Germany, people are voluntarily giving up animal proteins. The German Agriculture Ministry says meat consumption is dropping. Last year, it fell to just 52 kilograms per person. That's the lowest level since 1989. So what's driving the trend? Well, things like worries over animal welfare, climate change, and, of course, higher prices. The Agriculture Ministry says around 10% of Germans are vegetarians. That's up from 6% just 5 years ago. What role does meat play in your diet? This eatery in Mexico brings a whole new meaning to the concept of a fusion restaurant. It's called El Vilcito. By day, it's an automotive repair shop. By night, it's a taqueria. It's the end of the workday for the mechanics. Now, watch how this shop morphs into an eatery. Located in the Narvati neighborhood in Mexico City, El Vilcito is one of a kind among the more than 2,800 taco stands in the Mexican capital. It's become a popular spot on the city's food tours. The cooks at El Vilcito feed thousands of tourists a year. The shop and the taco stand are owned by the same family who came up with this unique business plan. Owner Ismael Artagosa jokingly assures customers that the oil from the shop is not used for the tacos. Oh, and he says the mechanics don't do double duty in the kitchen. Artagosa says customers come from all around the world: Japan, Germany, the US, and South America. This past week, the entire population of South Korea became a year or two younger. How did that happen? Well, it's through the magic of legislation. South Korea was the last East Asian country to still officially use a method of calculating age that says a baby is 1 year old when it is born. That's because the months a child spends in its mother's womb is counted as the first year of life. As well, another year is added every January 1st. Now consider this. If a baby had been born on New Year's Eve, when the clock struck midnight, another year would be added, so the infant would be 2 years old. Lawmakers have decided to fall in line with the rest of the world when it comes to calculating ages. The government says that will reduce confusion caused by its age calculations. And apparently the change is popular on the streets. More than 70% of Koreans say they agree with it. I just wish I personally could lose a year or two. Well, maybe you've heard that expression, "That's so ugly it's cute." Could be referring to this year's World's Ugliest Dog Contest. It's held every year to promote dogs that have lower adoption rates, and this year's event in California, first place went to Scooter. You see him here on the screen. He's a hairless, 7-year-old Chinese crested. His hind legs are deformed. Here he is with his owner, Linda Elmquist from Tucson, Arizona. You know, I've been a dog lover all my life. I love them all. And this year's entries, I gotta say, they're all cute. I'll be back in 7 days, and until then, I wish you all peace, joy, and happiness in the ensuing week. Thomas I. Likeness, Correspondent at Large, Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
This past week, the World Health Organization hosted a 4-day forum in Geneva, Switzerland on alcohol, drugs, and addictive behaviors, with a focus on gambling and gaming. Racialized reports on health is wealth.
From June 27th to the 30th, delegates from 50 countries will discuss and strategize ways on how to prevent and reduce the impact of substance use and addictive behaviors. Representatives from civil society, academia, healthcare, intergovernmental organizations, and member states across the globe will discuss a range of issues during the 4-day event. Issues include progress towards achieving Sustainable Development Goal Health Target 3.5, that is strengthening prevention and treatment of substance abuse and the commercial determinants of substance use and addictive behaviors, focusing on gambling and gaming. The forum will also discuss progress on the implementation of international commitments, including those in the Global Alcohol Action Plan 2022 to 2030. It will also feature presentations by people who have experienced substance use disorders and addictive behaviors. Studies show over 2% of the world population have alcohol or illicit drug addiction. That is 156 million people. Worldwide, around 26% of the population, that is 1.6 billion people, gamble. The global problem of gambling rates between 0.12 to 5.8%. WHO underscores the importance of strong international collaboration to address substance use and addictive behaviors as significant determinants of mental health and well-being. Rosel Feria, Washington, D.C., Eagle News. We live in extraordinary times.
Meanwhile, in Papua New Guinea, the governor of Guangdong, China visits Port Moresby to strengthen ties between the two major cities. Echo Hortaleza Quinola tells us more on Oceania at a Glance.
Prime Minister James Marape and Governor Powes Parkop welcomed Guangdong, China's Governor Wang Weizhong in his 3-day visit to the National Capital District. Guangdong is known for its fastest-growing economy among the 31 provinces and municipalities in mainland China. Wang says the import and export trade between Guangdong and Papua New Guinea reached an impressive $477 million last year. That is 1.6 billion kina. Marape commends Wang's leadership as a shining example of a prosperous Chinese province. Marape expresses his desire to continue strengthening the relationship between Guangdong, Port Moresby, and other parts of the country.
马拉佩总理跟我说，我们的合作都可以找他，也都可以给在座的各位部长呢直接联系。他还讲。
between the two places, and I can also establish a one-to-one and face-to-face contact with the ministers.
Everything is doable. My dear friends, we really need to work very, very hard to fulfill the objectives.
Wang also attends an official dinner hosted by Parkop and Moresby South member of the parliament, Justin Tachenko.
We warmly welcome this development and strive to foster a great partnership for mutual benefit between our city of Shenzhen, and the province of Guangdong. We as a developing city holds vast untapped potential for investment and development, while Guangdong, as the industrial heartland of China, offers tremendous opportunities. Together we can unlock new possibilities and forge an enduring partnership for the future.
Wang also graces the 5th anniversary celebration of Butuka Academy. Butuka is a school which China and Papua New Guinea partnered for its development and intent way back 2017. Eko Hortaleza Quinola, Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea, Eagle News, we live in extraordinary times.
Industry-leading filmmakers and professionals gather to unveil groundbreaking innovations at this year's Cine Expo. Introducing game-changing technologies, these creative architects continue to push the boundaries of motion picture production. In Hollywood, California, Alan and Eva with a report.
Cine, the trade show for professionals in the motion picture and video production industry, returns to Paramount Studios for its annual event.
With expos in Atlanta, New York, and here in Los Angeles, Cine showcases the latest in equipment, services, and emerging technology crucial for filmmakers.
You see virtual production being used all over the place, from The Mandalorian to The Batman. And what's great is being able to use one of our robots with it. A Sisu Cinema robot gives you incredible dynamic shots that you can get with this virtual production screen. The problem with traditional green screen is the actors didn't really have anything to act against because they just had a blank background to work against. So now they actually can interact with the environment. It also provides additional lighting.
So Kingdom Flow Lighting is about color correct lighting for the film and movie industry. To our left is a demonstration of the Mimic video tile. It has RGB WW pixels instead of just RGB. There's a 2700 Kelvin and a 6500 Kelvin white LED per pixel. The conversion from RGB to 5-color is being done at the tile itself, and it provides color correct foreground lighting. It's not intended for a direct view by camera, it's intended to light the foreground.
We make the world standard long distance microscope, and we make all different kinds of products for surveillance and for general scientific and industrial purposes. So I then developed these for cinematography. Instead of using endoscopes, as has previously been done, I have in this lens microscope principles. So these are the first digitally dedicated lenses in the world. You see how many people are attending to our booth. And so it's been a wonderful experience in a year.
Inspiring creativity and fostering connections, Cine also offers masterclasses and networking opportunities for industry experts looking to stay on top of the latest trends.
And being that it takes place at an actual film studio, I get the chance to end the report with these famous words.
That's a wrap.
Alan and Eva, Hollywood, California. Eagle News, we live in extraordinary times.
And before we let you go, here's our photo of the week. This is a photo of Saii Lagoon in Maldives. Thank you JC Beltran Arce for this shot of a must-visit getaway spot. And thank you all for joining us again. If there are stories or topics you want us to share with you, just comment below. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Eagle News Live. I'm Ken Cruz. We live in extraordinary times. Stay happy and healthy, everyone.